Hey guys, and welcome to TABBY Talks, where we chat all things fitness, business, lifestyle, and a little bit of shit. So this is episode 4, which I'm really excited about. And I feel like God has just not wanted us to do this podcast. But here we are. So I'm going to introduce my guest, which is someone who is actually a close friend of mine as well. And I feel like people clearly don't know we're friends because based off my Instagram story, no one got the hint that it was actually who it is. So I'm going to introduce the CEO of CHOCLT. You guys know him for his famous brownies, which is currently in Woolworths as well. Nick Vavitis.
Hey, what's up?
Thank you for coming on.
No, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited to have you on. And I think what a lot of people don't know, us obviously being friends, but the fact that we have a really commonality with obviously business. I look up to you in so many ways as well with how you hold yourself. You're also funny, so that helps.
Stop it.
But no, you are a really genuine person, and I think a lot of people only see sort of one side to you on Instagram, which you would probably get as well. But outside of obviously Instagram and doing all your reviews and stuff as well, you're a really good businessman, which I think a lot of people don't see too.
No, thank you. I was having this chat with you before. I think people just see me spitting out like stuff I don't like or throwing stuff off my balcony. And no one actually knows why I got into what I do and how things are. So I feel like it's going to be a really good talk today. And I honestly hope you guys take something away out of this that can fit into your own life or your own like journey, because I've been always a bit hesitant to talk about what I'm doing because I like to just do things and just let things happen. But I'm excited today to talk about the business side of things and talk about like why and how we got here.
Exactly, because so often too on social media we're seeing like these entrepreneurs and we're seeing people who have their own businesses and we're seeing them at a level that looks super successful, but everyone's like following you sort of now, but they're like, okay, but where did he start? And then it's like you do have a really good backstory behind you as well that helped you get to where you want to be. It's not like you were born into riches and just started creating a business. Like this is for those people out there that want to take the next step but are a little bit too scared to. It's like just do the fucking thing sometimes because you have no idea where it could potentially lead to go. And like you've gotten yourself in a great position now that's only growing. So that obviously started from somewhere, which is a good thing to touch on.
Yeah, so a lot of people come across my page and they're like, oh, you're so confident in front of the camera, like, you know, you can talk, you can joke and stuff like that. But let me tell you, that was not the case. And we'll rewind back a few years ago. So back when I first started my fitness journey and all that kind of stuff, I lost a lot of weight. I was really obese. Lost a lot of weight, got below 10% for the first time, and I was like, holy shit, like my whole persona became like, I've got abs, I've got pecs, like I'm living the life, right? And then it got time to like reverse diet and stuff like that. And the thought of putting weight back on really scared me.
How old were you?
I was probably like I just turned 18.
Okay.
18, 19. And I got to the point where like I was tracking chewing gum, tracking Coke Zero. I'm talking about like tracking each piece of chewing gum. Bad. And then I booked myself a holiday to go to the Olympia in Vegas. I remember getting there the first day and landed like, I'm in a whole new country, never experienced anything, like food everywhere. And I remember having a mental breakdown that night because the only thing I could think of was how am I gonna get my steps in? What am I gonna eat? Like I'm scared to eat this. And I had a mental breakdown. I was just like, I'm in another country, like I'm not even enjoying what I'm doing and it's only the first day.
Yeah.
So I said to myself, how can I enjoy this? Like, what can I do? So I remember being like, you know what? My family follows me on Instagram. I'm going to start an Instagram journal. Every day I need to eat something different and post it on Instagram and keep myself accountable. Yeah. And it was scary. Like I'm trying chocolate bars. I'm trying like Hershey pies that, you know, in like the Hershey dessert store. I'm eating burgers, like no idea about the calorie content, but started posting it. And I'm posting every day, and stuff started going off a little bit, but I was like, you know what? It's purely just to like.
Was it similar videos to like what you do now?
No, so I wasn't doing videos yet.
Okay.
So posting photos, posting chocolate bars, and I remember one day, one post went off like 20K likes, and people were commenting, being like, "This is like the first bit of hate I ever copped," and I was like, "Hey guys, this is just a journal. Like, stop.
Calm down."
Right? Copped a comment being like, "You don't actually eat this stuff." So in my mind, because I'm like always, I need to prove people wrong. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to show you. So remember setting up this botchy camera in the middle of like Vegas, right? I didn't even think about it. Set up a camera in the middle of Vegas, film myself eating. And afterwards, after I'd done it, I had like a holy shit moment. I was like, I just filmed myself in front of like people and I didn't even really care. I was like, what? It's like, what the hell? So I posted it. Yeah. And then from there, kept posting videos and stuff like that, and you know, still like kind of kept to myself. I didn't really have that confidence to like talk to people. Like talking to girls was like, no, I just didn't have the confidence, stuff like that. I remember one day I was like, I'm gonna pick up a camera and I'm actually gonna talk about some food. Picked it up, it was terrible, like stuttering, crap, didn't even make sense. But I was like, you know what? Posted it.
Yeah.
And there were so many mistakes and like clumsy like moments in that video that it just went off and started growing and growing more. And the more I did it, the more confident I got, and the more I started being like, hey, I'm actually really enjoying this. And from there, it just kept growing and growing and growing. And then from there, we started doing the reviews. We started rating things. We started throwing things off balconies. And at this point, I'm just like a whole different person. And it just kept growing and growing and growing. So this wasn't even meant to happen.
Yes.
This was...
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, I think that's what, if someone can take something away from that, it's like a lot of people are scared to post on social media, and it's not to just think that social media is everything, and not even in regards to just posting, but like do the thing that you know is going to scare you, because that's eventually what's going to get you sort of out of the hole that you're currently in as well. Just keep being persistent with it and be consistent as well.
100%. Like when I'm posting this food, I had people that were following me from school being like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're like, what are you posting? And like, the first lesson that I learned was you get better by doing things that scare you, right? You build character by doing things that scare you. You don't build character by being in a comfortable spot.
Exactly.
Right? Because my confidence started coming from like, hey, I'm doing stuff that I would never do, right? And people are questioning you. People are like, what are you doing? Like my own family were like, hey, like, what are you posting all these like burgers for and stuff like that? And at the time, I had no idea where this was going to go. Like I'm not posting to get... And before I started into it, right, I wasn't posting to get like 10K followers. I wasn't posting to get brand deals. I was posting to fix myself, to like literally pull myself out of we'll call it disordered eating. I won't call it eating disorder. We'll call it disordered eating. I was posting for myself. So nothing was ever fake. It was all authentic because it was only meant to be for me.
Exactly.
And that was, I feel like back then I did a lot of things without realizing what I was doing. Looking back on it then, I just posted out of passion. So whether a post got 5 likes, 10K likes, it was because I was posting out of the own passion of like, documenting my own journey for myself.
Because it's one of those things, it's like if you actually enjoy what you're doing, it's authentic, you're never going to fail.
100%.
You're going to enjoy doing it day in, day
out.
And,
you know, from there it just kind of snowballed. And it was something I was going to touch on a bit later on, but I will touch on it now. Like people always ask me, what's the plan with this page? What's the plan with chocolate and stuff like that? Like, what's your 5-year plan? I had a company actually I was going to do a chocolate bar with ages ago. They were like, can you give me a 5-year plan? Of like, we need a 5-year plan. I was like, I don't have one.
I don't have one.
And I was like, that's not going to work, right? And I was back then, I was like, no, like, it's, you know, they're right. I need a 5-year plan, whatever. My plan has always been, what do I need to do today to set up a successful tomorrow? Because if I had a 5-year plan, right, and I sat down and wrote, within 2 years, I want to be in Woolworths and I want to be in Coles, I would have talked myself out of it. Like 100%. 2 years to be in 1,000 Woolworths, to be in Coles selling a #1 protein bar, I would have been like, no way. Right? And my plan has changed so many times, even with my own Instagram page, that I've just stuck to the basic thing of why I started for, which is like, this is my passion. Follow your passion and things will fall into place. I'm a big believer of that.
So we should talk about that a little bit actually at the moment with your current launch in Woolworths with your protein bar. I think you told me you've sold over 750,000 protein bars.
At the moment, we've ordered 750,000 of the bars, and that's flying off the, like flying. And, you know, back 2 years ago when it first started, right, because I don't know if people actually know why it started for.
Where did the origin?
So I lost my job during COVID. I was working with my dad, and obviously COVID in Melbourne was really bad. Moved to Brisbane, and I started baking in my apartment because I was really bored.
What were you doing?
So my dad had a panel beating business.
Okay.
It was like set up for me to take over.
Wasn't making brownies. That's
no,
for sure.
Definitely not. Couldn't even cook toast.
Okay,
right?
Cool.
Could not even make toast. Right. I remember that day. My dad's gonna listen to this and he's like, "What are you telling the people for?" I remember that day. It just hit me in the head. I was like, I need to move. I need to get out of here. I'm sick of, I'm depressed in Melbourne. I need to get out. I told my family. My dad was like lost it. He's like, you got a family business, you're going to leave everyone behind. My mum started crying, being like, how could you do this to me? How could you do this to us? My grandma was calling me up, like, why are you doing this to us? Like, it's selfish. And this time I'm like, if my family think it's selfish, like maybe I am being selfish. But I was like, you know what? I'm not being selfish. I'm putting myself first. And they're like, what are you going to do? I was like, I actually have no idea. I got no idea what I'm doing. And they were like, you got no plan, nothing. I was like, I got nothing.
Yeah.
No idea. It's like, I'm going to sort it out when I get up there.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest thing that I've learned is my back needs to be up against the wall
Yeah.
for me to operate the best.
Yeah, I'm the
right?
same.
So moved to Brisbane, no plan, no money coming in. Started baking. And I remember handing out people like, you need to sell this. This is amazing. I was like, oh, like I'm not sure. Like, I wasn't really confident in like my baking stuff like that. And one of my mates at Donut World was like, why don't you bring your brownies to Donut World? Try it out. I was like, yeah, sweet. I made 12 pieces thinking like, who's gonna drive out for the brownies?
Yeah.
They're
And what
like
kind of brownies did you make? Were they similar to what you
Yeah,
do
the
now?
exact same.
Okay.
Just obviously a really like dumbed down version just 'cause I just started out.
Yeah.
Dropped them off Donut World, post it, and there's like a 45-minute wait for these brownies.
You're kidding.
And I'm like, whoa, huh?
No way.
So started a website.
Yep.
And mind you, starting a website, building a website, no idea how to build a website.
I was going to say, did you do that yourself?
I did everything myself.
Because that's an expense as well. So
Did it all myself because I was like, no idea what people were like, you know, you're going to set up for GST, BAS. I'm like, what are you talking
What is
about?
that?
What?
Yeah.
So, but I was like, no, you know what? I'll sort it out as I go. Because one of the things with me is, I feel like if I had known everything about running a business beforehand,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done it. I need
Yeah.
to throw myself in the deep end, and I work best when I need to keep my head above the water and just sort it out as I'm going.
Well,
I work the best.
100%. And it can be so scary. I had like started my business and I was kind of very similar to you. I sort of like left my family and started my business, and it kind of got quicker and quicker as I was going on. And I had no idea about tax. I had no idea about a GST or like how, like my business name and stuff, but I've got 100 clients and I'm like, I've got to start doing something somehow. And I actually just had to figure it out for myself. And that's what you've got to do sometimes.
And it's the best thing to do. Like, I feel like personally, and you probably can relate, for me to learn a lesson, I need to go through it.
Yeah.
You can tell me advice and I'll take it, but for me to understand that lesson, I need to go through it and I need to like understand how to get out of it.
100%.
I feel like we'll touch on some business sides a bit later on, just give people more of an origin story.
Yeah.
So basically, start a website, and then it just got notorious for selling out in like 2 minutes. We were stocking like hundreds of brownies online. It was selling out in like 2 minutes. Crazy.
In the donut store.
No, online store.
Okay.
So we would upload on a Sunday at 5 p.m. 5:01 p.m. sold out. Like
Really?
just going crazy. People were like losing it. Like I can't get these brownies. Just I'm like, what's going on here?
How many followers did you have on Instagram at this point?
So I had about 100K, and Chocolate had about 500 or so.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
it was like really new. Like the logo was made on like Microsoft Paint. So I
Okay,
did everything real
cool.
quick, right?
Yeah.
Selling out, and then we got to like I think the year mark. We're selling about 1,000 brownies. It's gone like still selling out within like 2 days. I got a message in my request folder, and it was from a guy named Chris. I won't say his last name just because I'm not sure if I can say it or not. But
Yeah.
he was like, "Hey, I work in the Woolworths bakery." He's like, "I really love your stuff. I've been following you for ages. We're following you for your reviews. Can I give you a chat?" And I was like, "This is a fake message. There's
Yeah.
no contacting me for." He then followed up again. He's like, "Hey, just checking this. Can you give me a call on this number?" So I called him. I was like, "Hey, I seen your message and all that." And he was like, "Hey, my name's Chris. I'm category manager at Woolworths." He's like, "I've been loving your reviews." And he's like, "I wanted to like revitalize the bakery in Woolworths and seeing what you do. Can we catch up for a chat?" And at this point, I thought, like he's probably gonna ask me like some opinions on like what I can do. Flew up to Sydney, get there, and he's like, "All right, so let's make some of your brownies now. Let's see if we can bring them to the Woolworths shelves."
No
and I was like, "What?"
No way.
He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I've seen what you do. Let's try it out in Woolworths." He's like, "What do we got to lose?" He's like, "We try one job buy.
Doesn't work.
Doesn't work. It's all good." He's like, "You know, if you can sell like 5,000 or so, you know, pretty good number." I was like, "Fuck, 5,000." I was like, "Huh?" So anyways, made the cookie pie, the red velvet brownie, and the
So
Oreo.
you made them yourself?
No, sorry, in Sydney. The manufacturer was in Sydney.
Okay, yeah.
Made them there. We dropped about 60,000 in total, which was back then 60,000.
You would not have seen those
I
numbers
was like,
before.
no, like 60,000. I was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this?" And like, just calm down. It's all good. He's like, worst case scenario is like, we lose a bit of money. We tried it. It happened.
Yeah.
First week comes out. I'm sure most people listening would know. You just went ballistic.
Yeah.
They called me within like the first 3 days and they're like, "Are you sitting down?" I was like, "Yeah." It was like, why? Like, I was expecting bad news. They were like, within like 2 days, you've sold like 50K worth of stock. And I was like, holy shit. End of the week comes, we've sold about 11,000 units in 1 week of our product.
Wow.
today's show, messages, hey, we want you on the show, come on the show now. It's gone from like me in an apartment to next week talking to Carl on 9 about brownies and chocolate and where it's stocked. And at this point, I'm just like, what is going on? It was on the news articles, like Daily Mail, news, everywhere. Like everywhere you can think of had it. 7 News, just went ballistic.
Do you feel like it was hard to keep up with, like all of a sudden?
See, one thing I look back on and I really want to try and fix it now, I never really live in the moment. So when that came out, I was already worrying about, okay, what do I do next?
Yeah.
So it pains me so much because that week...
It wasn't like you could enjoy...
I didn't enjoy anything.
Attention. Yeah.
I didn't enjoy being on TV because I didn't really stop and think about it. I didn't actually enjoy how well it did because I was just stressing about the next thing. Like, I don't ever take in my launches because I'm so worried about the next thing. And it pains me because it was my first launch.
Exactly.
I remember actually, the only thing I do remember is that first day that I posted it, the caramel biscuit cheesecake cookie pie, my post came out, I was announcing it. Posted it, 7,000 likes. I think it had 1,200 comments.
Yeah, wow.
I remember calling my dad and I started crying. I was like, Dad, like, we've done it.
Oh, bless.
And I'm crying, bawling my eyes out. Like, I'm talking bawling my eyes out because up until that point, it was pretty hard, right? The reality of running a business sunk in. A lot of stuff happened, a lot of failures happened. And the reality of like, hey, this isn't a walk in the park really was hitting me. So that Woolworths thing came out and I feel like, because I had not processed all the emotions of all the failures and all the stuff, because I was in that airplane mode, that survival mode of just getting there.
That is exactly it.
It just all came out on the phone with my dad. Like I'm talking like for half an hour, just bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, we've made it.
And do you feel like that was a moment where you were proud of yourself?
Definitely. I remember that moment, I actually stopped for once and I was like, be proud of yourself. Like it's not a bad thing to be proud of yourself. And I remember sitting there in my room, like on the floor, just like bawling my eyes out, being like, I'm actually so proud of myself. And it was the first time that I'd actually been kind to myself. And I was like, you know what? Like, just enjoy this moment for now. Let's let it all sink in and let's worry about the next week, the week after.
Exactly.
And that was really the first moment where I was like, holy shit, this is real. And the sacrifices that I'd made were worth it. So we'd hit that. It had done really well. Sold out pretty much everywhere and stuff like that.
I remember people were just arguing how they can't find it. Wasn't online anymore.
Yeah,
sold
legit.
out.
Just arguing and there was just fights and stuff. And I'm just like, what have I built here?
Yeah.
And that's the moment where I started questioning like, what have I built here? What am I doing? Like, this is real.
Yes, yeah. But obviously what comes with it is obviously a few setbacks too. So when you obviously got into Woolworths, people were like, this is really accessible. This is great. Okay. Because initially you just had online. That was your main platform.
Yeah.
That's obviously, you've obviously built that up to quite a good level. Then Woolworths have asked you to go in there. What's then happened to your online?
So, like we were saying before, failure is definitely an important part of the journey because you need to learn from your failures. One thing that happened right was it came out in Woolworths and people became like accustomed to just walking into a Woolworths and then buying it on the spot and going home. Then obviously it sold out. We launched back online. We dropped like, I'm talking 3/4 in sales gone, right? And I was panicking. I'm like, holy shit.
Because that's direct sales as well, because that's literally your income.
Yeah.
Whereas Woolworths, it's like, yes, it's still your income, but it's a little bit later.
Yeah, it's like a end of day, 30 days end of month payment.
Yeah.
This is more like every single week. So we've now, and it took me ages to realize took me a lot of expenses to realize this, but my online had no more value.
Yeah.
Right? People looked at it like, I'm going to have to pay postage, wait 2 to 3 business days.
Why would I bother?
Why would I bother when it's at Woolworths? So the main part of my business now had lost its like meaning. So I was stressing, obviously, but I was like, you know what? I need to sit down and I need to sort this out. So basically what we did is we sat back and I say this to everyone, the most important part of your business is making people see the perceived value.
100%.
Right? So we were like, how can we bring back the value to online? So what we did is a 6 flavor menu rotation every week. And we gave people incentives through like order a 6-pack, 10-pack, 12-pack. special rates, discounts, and just got people more involved with the flavors. Like now people actually have a say in what's going to come out, what they want to see. And once that menu's gone, that menu's gone. So that urgency to buy is back there. And, you know, reaching a new audience because, you know, organically it done really well, but it was time to bring chocolate out to people that didn't know what chocolate was. So that's where the protein bar steps in because now people will go and buy the protein bar and say, oh, chocolate, what's this? I'll go online and buy brownie.
True. Yeah.
But, you know, getting to this point was like super, super difficult. There's been so many like emotions, thoughts and stuff like that I'm still now processing from so many years ago. Like, because I think one of the things that really fell into the trap of was listening to people online talk about you should be having X amount of employees, you should be delegating tasks, you shouldn't be working in your business. Theoretically, that's great, right? You don't want to be working in your business, right? And I was like, you know what? Within 6 months, I want to be out of the baking. I don't want to be doing this. I want to be just running it because that's what online business coaches are saying, right? Theoretically, great theory, right? And this is one thing I haven't really spoken about is I've spent all this time building up this business now and I've delegated the baking and everything. I was going through this thing where all of a sudden I'd lost my purpose. I was like, hang on a sec. I've built my Instagram up. I was baking, creating flavors. Now, like, someone else is doing that. Yeah. I've actually, like, I felt so empty. I wasn't making flavors. I wasn't baking them anymore. And my passion's always been creating desserts. Yeah. So now someone else is doing it. And the mental battle of that was one of the worst, like, things I've ever faced because I couldn't even go tell my friends, hey, I'm actually sad that I'm not working. They'd be like, are you okay? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I couldn't tell anyone. So I just got into this like bad run of just like, I didn't have work Monday, I'll go out.
What do I have
I'll stay a bit later, I'll do stuff to like not have to stress about it. And it got me into a bad rut where I was like lost, so like empty. And as of recent, I've done a lot more of the baking and stuff like that, like helping out, not because I need to, but because like I want to. I love that hands-on approach of being there with my staff. I love talking to the staff during the day. I love making the new flavors. It makes me so happy. So, you know, there's so many different ways and so many different feelings on your journey. Like be in touch with how you feel about certain things because what might work for one person doesn't work for the other. And that for me was a big thing that I could not overcome for ages.
Yeah. I get that because even though we do completely different things as well, I could easily have a lot of coaches under me coaching all my clients and I could definitely step away from it. I could have someone running everything, but I actually enjoy what I do so much. And even for you as well, it's like you're literally helping people, you're bringing people joy. People come to me because they want an outcome. People are coming to you because they want an outcome. They want something. It's not like they're turning up for Nick Vavitis and people aren't just turning up because of Tabby Night, but they actually are as well. If we weren't the faces of the product too, people like to be on our journey. People feel like they're a little bit involved with us. But that's also because we put ourselves out there as well. So if we both took a step away from that, I actually think the businesses wouldn't boom as well as they do.
Definitely. I fully agree with you. Yeah, that's, like you said, that was the biggest thing for me. I was like, I need to still be doing this because it's like an escape for me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, for example, people say the gym's their escape. For me, it's going to the warehouse and just for like, that day of just like making cookies or trying out a new cheesecake, doing something, it's just such an escape for me. Like
Well, it was an escape for you, especially when you had nothing. When you had nothing, your escape was to make brownies. So it's just, you're lucky that those brownies started getting you into a better position, but that was your escape back then. That hasn't changed.
Exactly. That's the thing. I went back to like, going back to my roots of like, I didn't start this for a business. I started this because I was just like, interested in baking.
Exactly.
Right. And I was like, nothing should have changed now. Just because online tells me I should be delegating tasks and not doing it, right? It didn't suit me at all. Like I love going in and making desserts and posting stuff and doing all that kind of, I love it.
That's the thing, like just because social media and societal standards say you should be doing something one certain way, like if you don't feel like doing it that way, don't. Because it's even like with society, and this is why I say I love your content, because your content is so authentic, you're filming it yourself. What will every business coach probably tell you to do at the moment? Hire a videographer so you've got like content coming out daily, but it's like I don't want to do that. Why would I? I don't really do it either. You don't. All you've got is your iPhone set up in your bloody car.
That's it, legit. Legit.
People love authenticity at the end of the day. And that's why if you want to fake being something that you're not, it will never work, because you'll get outworked by someone else that is being real.
100%. And, you know, going back to like that period of like having nothing, like when I moved to Brisbane, moved with my best mate, he ended up meeting his now fiance. They're getting married like next month.
Oh, wow.
So we've moved to a new place. He's obviously gone and started with life with his fiance. I'm left like
Yeah. What do I
on my
have?
own, no friends, no family.
Yeah.
No money at that point because I'd spent a lot of like moving up there.
Yeah.
At the time, that nothing period was the worst period of my life, right? But having nothing helped me build everything. Now, let me explain that.
Yeah.
When you have nothing, you can't go out for dinners. You can't buy that materialistic stuff. You can't buy that car. You can't go and spend money at the club, right? What you can do is when you have nothing is sit at home in your own silence with your own thoughts. Call your family.
Yeah.
Call the people around you. And you start to realize that we think we have nothing, but really we actually have everything around us that we don't perceive as like less value. Like people might think that car, that bag, that purse it's everything.
Yeah.
But in that period, I learned like calling my mum and dad to see how they are. Calling my dad every
100%.
single day.
Yeah.
Calling my brother and being like, hey, like, how's school going? How's your new job going?
Yeah.
Calling like my friends that I hadn't spoken to. Actually sitting at home and being like at night, like, hey, what actually goes through my head? Because I'm in such an autopilot mode with work, I don't actually stop and think like, what am I thinking about?
Yeah.
Like what's going on in my life? And being in tune with those simple stuff made me realize like I am actually so rich in other areas of my life that
100%.
I was
You don't realize.
like, wow, like being rich isn't just about those materialistic stuff, right? Because like, you know me, I don't drive anything fancy. I'm not really too fancy. I'm just, like I said, I'm not overly spoken. I find now being rich for me is like being time rich. Like me and my dad have the best relationship ever because I take time out of my day and he does as well to like meet up for dinner, meet up for lunch. With my brother, have the best relationship ever, like because I take time out. I'm not always busy under the pump, like with other stuff doesn't matter. Like my relationships with the people that matter are so like fulfilling me right now that I actually feel like right now in my life, I'm the richest and happiest I've been in a very long time. And it's nothing to do with materialistic stuff.
It's got nothing to do with money. It's got to do with the people and the places, your freedom as well. Time freedom, I think, is so important. And a big thing that I've always believed in is like dreams are made in solitude. And I think that a lot of people need to spend time when they are alone. And you need to be on your own sometimes and not be able to rely on other people. Even before I started my business, I obviously left my family, and for a long point in time, I didn't speak to anyone, and you know that as well. And obviously I ended up getting really caught up in my work, in competing. And then this year when I got sick, I've realized, fuck, I have no one to like look after me. Like I'm bedbound and can't work. I live on my own. I have to afford life by myself. And I have a good circle around me, but also minimal friends. But I kind of left my family and I'm like, well, what do I do? Like I was so grateful. Obviously my dad, like even I've just reconnected with them and it's been everything. And I say, if there's a silver lining in everything that I've gone through this year, it's that relationship that I now have with my dad and his wife and like just my siblings it means the world to me. And I think that's important too. And for me, having that relationship with my family and my small circle around me, because I've seen how they're able to impact me when I'm literally at the lowest, is the richest thing I'll ever have in my life.
Absolutely. And I can totally agree with that. There's an opportunity in everything that goes on. It's just a matter of like your perception and how you view things. But I don't ever, and I think you'll be the same, I don't ever really feel upset that things that happen to me. I think things that happen to you so you can build that character.
And like you can sit there and feel sorry for yourself, but it's not gonna get you anywhere. Life goes on.
Definitely, life goes on. And going back to the start of the chocolate journey, I remember like when I first started. You know about this because I always post about it. I remember like I was baking at home. I think I was like 28, and the girl I was seeing at the time sent me a message, and she's like, "Hey, like, look, I just don't think I can do this. Like, you're 28, selling brownies. Like, I need someone that's a bit more further on in life."
You're kidding.
And that's a big thing. That's a big ouch moment, right?
It's hard to hear.
These things if you look at them a certain way, can fuel your fire, right? And these things did fuel my fire. Like all these doubts, a lot of friends changed towards me when, I started CHOCLT and all that. It fuels you and it teaches you certain things about yourself that you wouldn't have known prior to these things happening. And, going back from nothing, like moving to Brisbane, I feel like I was very lucky because I was like given a second shot at life. Not that I didn't have a good life the first time, but I was given a chance to like restart and build a new persona in Brisbane, a new version of me. And I did. This is a new person. The person that was in Melbourne had no like confidence to leave his business and that.
Yeah.
So sometimes nothing and failure is the best things that will happen to you. And one thing that grinds, actually not one thing, a million things grind my gears. I always hear things on Instagram about like, I'm driven because I fear failure, right? Let me tell you now, I'm telling you the best piece of advice you will ever hear. If you fear failure in business, you will not succeed,
100%.
right? If your fear of failure is what drives you, you will stay comfortable and you will not push yourself, right? What I mean by that is, right, if you fear failure, you will never take that risk. You will never take that opportunity to step outside of your comfort zone or to, invest in that thing or whatever. I've had to put out some money for certain things that have scared the absolute shit out of me, right?
Yeah.
But you just back yourself enough to know that if this goes wrong, I will figure out how to get through this. And going back to the confidence thing, my confidence hasn't come from like all my success. My confidence has come from every time that I've failed, I've known that I will problem solve my way out of this.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to fall on my ass.
Yeah.
So it makes it easier every decision that I work myself out of if I fail to then be like, you know what? I've been in a position way worse than this.
Agreed.
I can get myself out of this. So I take those risks. I've taken big risks that haven't paid off or that haven't like worked in my favor. I've taken risks on people working for me that haven't worked out and it's gotten really, really bad, but I've problem solved my way out of it and that's given me confidence.
Yes.
So confidence doesn't come from like your success. It never does. Like you get to that Woolworths launch, right? And I don't think about, shit, that product's in Woolworths. I think about, hey, look what it took to get here. Like it makes it that much sweeter because this is what happened to get here.
Yeah.
And even with the Muscle Nation bar, going to the Coles, I remember the first time they told me they were like, we're going to order 250,000 bars, right? No way. We've now gone from like 1,000 brownies to 250,000 bars, right? Yeah. I was like shitting myself, right? Shitting myself. And I learned a very valuable skill actually. Not a skill, like a very valuable like lesson. This like imposter syndrome came over me where I started being like, hey, I don't feel good enough. Like I'm not going to be able to do this. I started doubting myself. But those thoughts made me push even harder to post it more, to get it out there, to market it. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe these feelings of like anxiety and imposter syndrome
is a good thing.
What if I can actually use them to my benefit?
Yes.
And I sat down and I was like, let me debunk, not debunk, but let me look at this situation from a third party, right? And I started understanding that like these imposter syndrome, it humbles you to a level where you're like, I don't feel like I'm good enough to be here, but I will do everything to make myself feel like I will be here.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm actually turning some of my weaknesses here into like my strengths, right? Even with anxiety, like I started getting a bit anxious, like, and I'm like, why am I feeling like this? And I started being like, you know what? This is like a mechanism where it's like, when you're in tune with it, I'm kind of feeling like, hey, I'm not on the path I should be. This is why I'm feeling this way. And I use these, not weaknesses, but like these feelings to like steer me in the right direction now. I don't ever like, even some meetings and stuff like that I've had with like companies, I felt like I shouldn't be there. But then I've been like, okay, this is not a bad feeling because it's making me realize I need to listen like a sponge.
Yes.
I need to take everything in. I need to pretend that these people know more than me.
Yep.
I don't ever walk into a room now and pretend or think I know more. So I'm like, hey, these feelings aren't actually that bad. And I know that's a very general statement. So before anyone like yells at me and punches me through the screen, I'm only talking about how you can use like that self-doubt and that anxiety in like business. I'm talking about anything else outside of that.
Yeah.
For me in my business, using these feelings to like power me through and understand myself better has helped so much.
I think it's important to be in rooms where people are better than you as well. And that was a big part of me kind of coming into this industry as well. Like definitely there's that whole imposter syndrome as well. But it's like, why am I feeling imposter syndrome for something that I want to fulfill this role? I want to be this role. Now I've got this role. So hold myself to that standard. But don't just think and accept mediocrity from there once I've got to a certain point. Like you want to continue going up. Even like you, if you just settle now and you're happy with your bars, you're happy with your brownies, it's like, okay, but then is that it to chocolate? Like, no, you want to continue growing. So that means you need to surround yourself with people that are higher up than you, that are better than you, that can help you get you in those positions. So it's not being afraid to make connections. Connections can also be a very valuable thing as well, making relationships with people, but also being a good communicator. I think that can go in so many ways, but if you're not able to communicate with people on a good basis and have like an intellectual conversation as well, they wouldn't trust you. They wouldn't trust your business, your knowledge, what you have, where you can get them. Because at the end of the day, yes, it's increasing you, but it's also increasing all of them as well and their business. So the fact that they're willing to back you, I think is a really nice feeling for you as well, to know that people have a lot of trust and faith in your abilities, which would mean a lot to you, I'm sure.
100%. Like with our Woolies flavor coming out now, I'm not going to name drop it, but we're bringing out...
When is it dropping?
September 29th, it's out. We're collaborating with a company that's like massive, right? And wait, before I give it away, let me think. There was a conversation they had with me and they were like, we don't really collaborate. The brand's getting so big that we only collaborate with like global brands. Okay. It's very like, the trademark laws and all that are really strict. Yeah. And they're like, we want to only collaborate with brands that are like pulling out that $1 billion mark or like that hundreds of millions of dollars. And they turned around and said to me, and I remember it because it hit me like a sack of shit. They turned around and said, we're going to let you use the name on your brand because we're so thankful the way that you've helped bring this product and supported us, and you've never asked for anything in return, ever. They were like, you've never asked to be paid. Never asked for anything. You just do it out of the love of what you do. Yes. And that really went back to my point of like, I'm getting to where I am because I'm passionate about what I do. I'm passionate about what I post, what I make, and I'm not doing this for any other reason apart from passion. And passion is taking me so far. Because I'm pretty sure as well, with your reviews, you're not sponsored by most of the reviews you do, are you? No. So usually like what happens is a company messages me and they're like, hey, we want to pay you for this, right? But in that payment term, they're like, you have to say this, this, and this. You can't use this chocolate bar in chocolate. Like you have to be exclusive with us. Why would you do that? Right? No, I don't want to lose my authenticity, right? And short-term thinking, trust me, it would be great money to be able to make some of the money that they're asking, like offering and stuff like that. But long-term, I'm just like, I've built like a trust with people. Yes. And one thing people say to me is like, oh, chocolate only got like big because, you got lucky, right? No. Chocolate's been a 7-year investment. And whenever I say that, people are like, how's it been a 7-year investment, right? From 2017 to 2020, 2016 was it? To now, right? I've never, maybe like 1 or 2 paid promotions. I've never taken a cent. I've always spent, I added up how much money I spent in the first couple of years making desserts and they made me cry, right? It's been out of my own money, right? I've built up the trust with people, never taken money. This is me now cashing in on that trust that I've built with people because people now trust that anything I release is going to be like cracker because I know my standards and stuff like that. Yeah. This is now cashing in on a 7-year investment of turning up every single day, posting, reviewing something, just putting myself out there. And, the scary part is I was doing that with this could have just been a nothing. It could have just been me posting for 10 years with I just did it because I just did it without ever thinking about it. Like, because you could have just gone back to being a panel leader and then also just making things on the side and posting about it because you liked it. Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't do anything for any other purpose apart from I liked it. And I feel like things just happened. Like, even with Muscle Nation stuff, I remember turning up to an expo one day and just being like, hey, I want to help out in the booth. And they're like, we've only got one job for you. Like that's collecting emails in a line of 3 hours, 3-hour wait line. So I'm going around with an iPad, handing out t-shirts, collecting emails for 3 days straight. Slept in my car in the Crown car park because the company had just started back then. I didn't have enough. They were like, we've only just booked enough hotel rooms for just us and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Right? Didn't ever once think like I'm gonna get nothing out of this. I didn't ever think anything like that. I literally thought to myself, holy shit, like I'm working with a brand where I've followed the owners for years. Like this is a dream come true for me.
Well, that's what I wanted to touch on, how the Muscle Nation relationship started, if you're allowed to talk about that.
Yeah. So basically that's what happened. We went to the expo, helped them out, and they were like, thanks for doing it. Do you want anything? I was like, nah. They had to beg me to take some clothes because I was like, I felt so bad taking it. I was like, I did this because like I've followed Chris.
Did they message you to be an athlete?
So after that, my account started blowing up. Like I was doing my own thing.
Okay.
And then I remember Tula, the account athlete manager, messaged me and she's like, hey, we want to offer you a contract. No, sorry, rewind. They were like, hey, we really love your reviews. Do you want to jump on the Muscle Nation story and review our new proteins?
Oh,
and I was like, oh, shit, I'm going to be on the story.
Cool.
So they were like, log in and do it. Do what you normally do. Do the smell test, do all that kind of stuff. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So I logged in, did it, and people were just reacting like, this guy's so funny, he's hilarious. Like, I loved it. It's a new spin on like the normal crap. Like, people don't want to, and this is a message for anyone out there. I don't want to see you sitting down holding a protein thing here saying 15% off.
No.
Make it fun, right? Make it relatable, right? My review was so like, what the hell? This guy is so funny that people were just like, I need to try it. Like, you could see the love of me explaining the protein flavor. Yeah. Right? Because I was talking about every element of it.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just going to post up me sitting on a chair and be like, hey guys, I'm sponsored by this company.
No.
Right? So did that. And then after that, they were like, hey, we want to offer you a contract. 10% discount code, sign you up, have you on and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, shit, like, going to be part of like Muscle Nation.
Yeah.
And then that's where it started. They were like, we want you to do a Fat Sunday segment. Every Sunday, log in, go on a food trip.
Yeah.
And it just blew up like crazy from there. Like, it just went like bonkers. People were loving it. People were like, we need more of it, blah, blah, blah. And then it started getting people being like, hey, like, you've actually helped me like with my own food journey.
Oh, wow.
You've actually helped me realize that I can eat stuff and still be like fit and I can still enjoy my stuff. I don't have to be strict. And that hit me because I was like,
that's where it came.
I've actually started. This is why I started.
Yeah.
I've unknowingly helped people in helping myself.
Yeah.
So, you know, at that point, I kind of felt like I owed people to continuously working on myself and improve myself, because if I improve myself, I can then pass on my lessons to other people, which are going to help them. So it became like, not like a job, but like a goal of mine. Continuously improve yourself, because people actually do care and look up to you.
They do.
So I kept posting about like, hey, you can do this, this, and this. Like, you don't have to eat like this. You know, you can balance it. You can go out for meals. Getting people messaging me and being like, I've had an eating disorder for so many years. Sorry if this is triggering for anyone. But like, you've helped me. Like, I'm now enjoying my life. Like, I follow your stuff. I went and saw you tried this Cadbury bar. I went and had a bite and I felt okay after. And I'm just like, holy shit, like.
Yeah, because sometimes that's all you need to see is someone that you can relate to as well. I think something about you is that you can be a really relatable person as well, so that people see that in you and they feel almost a sense of comfort to go about their journeys in similar ways, which it's amazing.
Yeah, like at the fitness expo, we'll rewind because we're talking about the journey. So that happened, right? And then Muscle Nation were like, let's signed on doing Fat Sundays, amazing. And then we were originally going to do a protein custard powder, like a blondie custard.
Oh. That
was the original plan.
Okay. I didn't know that.
And I think some things came up with myself, with them, and we just kind of like fell out. And I remember we just had things on and we never really followed it up. Chris messaged me and he's like, hey, we got these cheesecake bars coming out. Do you want to sample one?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. Tried the caramel, like instantly fell in love. I was like,
because you hate protein bars. Anyone that's listening, Nick is not a protein bar lover usually.
The reason it's, when anyone says, oh, it's not a protein bar, it's 12 grams of protein. Yes, I know. It's a dessert bar. I hate protein bars. I would never sell something that I don't eat. And I don't eat protein bars, right? So having it lower protein meant that it tasted like a dessert bar. And I was like, hey, this is actually delicious.
Yeah, because you need to back your product.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So they were like, try this out. Tried it out. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, let's do it. So they promised me, they were like, look, online only drop, 30,000 bars, see how it goes. Yeah. I was like, great. That's a good start. I'm doing something new. And then I remember in talks and all that, Coles picked it up and they're like, want to try it out, see how we go. Coles picked it up, we released it at the Expo, we sold like 400 boxes in the first like day.
Yeah,
Crazy.
there was like a limit.
Yeah,
What-
we had to
wasn't
limit
that
it
you
to one
could-
per person, like
That's
one bar per person.
Yeah.
And it was still selling out. People were coming getting photos, like that was a real like what the hell moment. People coming getting photos being like, I feel like I'm like friends with you. Like I watch you and I feel like you're talking at me. And that was a
Wow.
real like amazing moment because I'm just like, I built this really nice community that people are, you know, times are tough, but people are coming out here and buying protein bars, like by the boxes. Like you almost think like, why did I deserve this? Right? And then it released in Coles and I remember getting messages from like Nathan like being like, Coles aren't actually set up for people to be walking out with boxes. People were tagging me in stories of like walking out with like 2-3 boxes.
Yeah, people are hiding them.
Hiding them, trolleys. I went into one Coles and people were like, hey, we've actually had all our stock stolen because people just came in and just stole all the boxes and ran out. And you're sitting back thinking like this is my brand. Like I don't ever wrap my head around like, why do I deserve this? Like this is crazy.
I remember you had to post an Instagram story being like, hey, I appreciate you guys liking my bars, but please also be respectful of like the Coles stores.
Legit, like be respectful of the workers and that because people were just like going crazy and you sit back and you kind of like, you don't ever really take advantage of it because like you don't really, I don't understand it. What I mean by that is I always think to myself like, what did I do to deserve this? And it humbles you because you stay humble. You don't ever think like it's not expected. And
because as soon as you get an ego as well, like I was saying before, that's when you become complacent. Like ego bleeds complacency sometimes. Like you're just going to be happy with what you've got and that's going to be it.
100%. And, you know, seeing the way people go about it and stuff like that. And, you know, I'm talking that week, the 2 weeks of the first launch, I'm on my phone, like my screen time's like 15 hours. But if someone's gone out and spent $50 on a protein bar box, you're guaranteed they're going to get a reply from me saying thank you. 100%. I don't have any social media marketing team.
Yeah.
I don't have anyone replying on my behalf.
If you get a reply,
I'm sharing every story, replying to every story like from me because both accounts.
Yeah.
Right. It drains me. Right. I'm tired. I don't want to look at my phone.
Have you ever considered having someone take those roles?
No. Because people, the one thing that makes chocolate and me is the way people feel like they can talk to me and be friends with me.
Yeah.
I will never get, no matter how big it gets, I will never lose that authenticity of someone being like, hey, I'm messaging Nick. Like someone came out, got a photo with me and they were like, hey, I watch every one of your reviews and they're like, you're so like doing so well with your business. Yet when I talk to you, you still say thank you. You're still so appreciative of me. Wow. Like you make me feel like I'm best friends with you. No amount of free time or paying someone is worth hearing those words were like, they amazing. Like someone out there considers me a best friend. Like someone came up to me at the expo as well and was like, through really hard times, like I remember you gave me advice and you helped me out. And she's like, I will buy every single thing of yours because you were there for me when you didn't have to be.
Wow. Yeah.
And it drains you and it's tiring, but moments like that are definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I agree because even with my role, like my income is replying to people. That is what I do. And yes, I'm on my phone all the time. I have a separate phone for work. All I do is sit behind a work screen or I can look like I'm on my phone all the time. But people are paying for my replies. They're paying for my thoughts. And at the end of the day, that's what works. I could leave that off to someone else, but it's never going to be the same. But I enjoy it.
Exactly. You know, like even with what you do, like girls feel like they can come and talk to you and open up because they trust you and they build rapport with you, right?
Yeah.
And giving it to someone, it just wouldn't be the same and it's just not worth it.
No.
And you know, I'm sure that there's certain things the way you reply and the way you talk, people are like, this is why I stay with Tabby.
Well, exactly. But even like with you, just with like your friendships and stuff as well, like the first time we ever like spoke, we were just yapping for hours because like you're such an easy person to get along with and it's the relatability as well. And people just love that. People like feeling like they can relate to someone and feeling like someone's easygoing. If people were coming to you and you kind of thought you were above everyone else because you've built up this amazing business, you'd have more haters than people that were buying your stuff. 100%.
That's why I'm a bit reluctant on talking about, like I was telling you before, I haven't really gone on a podcast and spoken about stuff because I like to think of myself as like, I'm regular guy that had a regular job that's just followed his passion, right?
Yeah.
And nothing changes, like, not better than anyone, not worse than anyone.
No.
I still talk to anyone that's, you know, all of my friends with respect and just keep myself grounded because that's important, right? It's really important to like stay grounded because what we were saying before, like if you start thinking you know more than everyone else and stuff like that, you lose sense of reality, you lose touch with people and stuff like that. But, you know, being myself and focusing on the principles that matter to me ends up attracting people around me that like are very like-minded and attracts the crowd that you're after. Like, you know, great friendship with you and we can relate on a business level. I've got my mates in Brisbane that I can relate to and like, you know, are caring, like I can share my feelings and stuff like that. And then I've got my mates that are doing so well with like their businesses and stuff like that. Like I got Tom that does Peak Performance, like one of my great mates, mentors and stuff like that. A really close friend of mine at the moment, like as of recent, has been Adam. We linked up to do the review video and we just became best friends. And like that friendship for me is super motivating to see him doing so well. Like instead of having this jealousy and like this hate of people doing better, you feed off each other. Like seeing him kill it, seeing my other mates kill it, like it feeds me to do better.
You don't get anywhere by being jealous. You get nowhere.
Definitely.
But something that I think is important to touch on as well is like, yes, we've got these amazing people around us, but I'm sure along the way as well, have you experienced anything with friends, people using you? Have you ever seen that kind of side of things?
There's a trade-off. There's a trade-off to everything. And what I mean by that is for me to get here, I've had bad stuff happen to me. And admittedly, I've probably also been a bad person to people, right? Now, what I mean by that is for me to sit here and reply to every single one of these comments about people that are buying my stuff and all that, it means my dad has to miss out on potentially a text message from me.
Yeah.
My friends don't hear from me because like I'm so burnt out and stuff like that. Or like, you know, unfortunately, like sometimes when I've been seeing someone or dating someone, I get so like focusing on work that anything outside of that becomes tunnel vision. And I know that sounds like a cop out, but like I'm just explaining how I feel at times, and I understand that like there's trade-offs for everything, and unfortunately sometimes the trade-offs mean that I've lost people that I've actually cared about. I've lost friendships because I haven't put the time and effort in. Some people have felt neglected that I haven't seen them enough, and looking back on it now, like I am truly sorry. Obviously back then I was just so focused on my work that I was like anything else.
You also sort of had to do that. Sometimes you need to make that sacrifice. Like your glass can only be so full. And I think you need to understand that too. And you've obviously realized that now. Like our glass can literally only be so full. And at different times in our life, we can pour into different cups, but you only have 100% to give, and some days it's going to be 60%. And I think that's fine as well. And understanding that sometimes you're going to have to put your water in somewhere else, and someone is going to have to go without.
100%. And that's why it's so important to keep people around that understand that. I'm not saying take advantage of people and never give them anything, but it's so important to keep people close that when you don't have anything to offer, like they're still there for you. And sometimes I haven't had a lot to offer because I'm just like so taken in on work. Like my friend in Brisbane, my best mate in Brisbane, Jacob, I've had to cancel like 3 Brisbane trips last minute because of work. He never ever gets angry, cracks at it. He understands, and like that for me, that is amazing. Like he's so understanding of me and stuff like that. You know, but also on the other side of that, success is a very, very like, can be a very lonely road sometimes. People change, people's attitude towards you change. And you learn a lot about like people around you. There's been a lot of good stories, but also I've lost a lot of friends. Like I had a couple of friends that told me at the start I didn't have what it took to be a business owner. I couldn't do it. I wasn't even allowed to hang out with them because I wasn't successful enough. And then you start leapfrogging them, and all of a sudden it's like, hang on a sec.
They come running back.
Not even that, they just try to undermine you, right? And they change. And, you know, you can take all this stuff and be like, why is that happening to me? What do I do to deserve this? Or you just learn the valuable lessons from it. And, you know, one thing you got to remember is, because I see a lot of people on Instagram talk about how I don't have this many clients, I don't have that, I'm not doing so well in my business, or things are tough. I'm only talking about business here. I'm not talking about any like serious issues and stuff business-wise. one thing that humbles me a lot is there's someone out there that has been through your problem and solved it. Your problem is not that special. I don't mean that that's a really humbling thing to think of, because it's like someone out there has solved what I'm complaining about. And, there's people out there that have solved stuff and done stuff that are like quiet, you would never know about it.
Yep.
But you're complaining about this, right? So it's all about being humble and realizing that everything that's happened to me, it's happened to someone else, and someone else has gotten through it and come out the other end.
Yeah, you've got to take responsibility sometimes as well, like realize your fuck ups, and that it's okay to make mistakes as well, but you just got to learn from it and take action to do better.
100%. And those moments will help you like sculpt who you are, what you believe in and what you don't believe in and stuff like that. Like it'll mold you, right?
Agreed.
So just being humble and like realizing that what I'm going through has been solved by someone else before. And times like these, like when friends are doubting you, when you fail, it comes down to having that passion. Now, if I was an online coach and these things happened to me, I would have dropped out in a second. I don't have the passion for it. I would be like, it's too hard. I'll drop out. There's some times where like at the start where I'm baking brownies and I'm actually losing money because I have to put stock back into I'm working to lose money. Yeah, I'm still turning up every day with like this delusion. And at the time it was delusion. Yeah. Right? Of like, nah, I'm going to make this, I'm going to do it, right? You got a loved one telling you that I can't date you because like you're making brownies, that you're still turning up and doing it. You need to have the passion. It's the most important thing.
You don't want to give up.
It's the most important thing. You will never give up no matter how hard it gets. You will always find a way because you're passionate about it.
I love that.
And the passion is my business plan. Just keep putting my passion into what I'm doing because it's not only opened up the door for the protein bar, it's also opened up the door for another thing coming soon.
Yeah.
And I'm doing things that I didn't even think I'll be doing.
Yeah. So while we chat on that and we get to the end of this episode as well, I want to chat about some of the things that you do have that are up and coming that you feel free to chat about.
Ask away.
So what are some of the things that you have up and coming for chocolate, seeing in 2024, or even like with Woolies or other brands potentially?
All right. Collaboration coming to Woolies in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Question mark, coming out soon. Not telling you anything.
Hints.
Nothing, right? The cookie pie is coming back. Not what you think.
Okay.
And there's more diverse products coming out that are going to allow you to go on your own chocolate journey.
Okay.
Take that in your own interpretation.
I'm interested.
The question mark one's a good one and you know it, but it's not dropping anything.
And is there anything that you want to see in particular for yourself over the next few years? Like I know we were saying before that you don't have a 5-year game plan, but surely there's going to be a part of you that's like, I can't just keep taking this sort of month by month.
Honestly, that's exactly what I'm going to do because my main focus is keep bettering myself, because if I better myself, I'm going to better my business.
Yep.
I'm going to better, you know me, right? I love a night out. Love it, right? Love doing stuff like that.
He's
love
not
going
making
out,
brownies,
right?
he's at Revs.
Love going to Revs, right? Doing stuff like that is not bettering myself.
Yeah.
So just making better decisions. Like, how can I make decisions to better myself, which are going to better the people around me and my business? If I better myself, everything around me betters. If I don't better myself, everything else falls apart. So the power really is that it's on me to be the best version of me, to keep pushing myself forward. So yeah, it's just a really powerful thing that I know it sounds like simple, but your destiny is in your hands. Yeah. And that's as simple as that. Like my destiny is in how I level up myself, how I mature myself, how I hold myself, what I'll do with myself.
Do you think if you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice, or someone that is up and coming with wanting to potentially start a business, what would that be?
Believe in yourself. And I know it sounds cliche, but nothing happens unless you believe in yourself. And you're going to have moments where you don't believe in yourself, but those moments, when you push through, you will come out the other end with a new belief in yourself. So don't be afraid to go through things. Don't be afraid to fail. Set out on something that you're passionate with. And remember, at the end of the day, whether you succeed or fail, it's going to be on you, no one else, right? So make decisions for yourself, make decisions by yourself, and make decisions that you think benefit you. They may not benefit you, but you'll learn a lesson from them, and they may benefit you. Do things for yourself, do what you're passionate about, and work on yourself, because when you work on yourself and you believe in yourself, everything else around you will flourish.
There's nothing better you can do than work on yourself. And I think that's a very important thing too. We can actually even touch on a little bit of self-care. Like, do you feel like you give back to yourself, or do you have moments so that you can stop yourself from getting burnt out?
No, like one of my biggest toxic traits is I never feel like I'm doing enough, or I never feel like I'm good enough. And it's a very, very dark, deep hole, because it comes out in coals and a week later I'm like, all right, what am I doing next?
Yeah.
Comes out in 1,000 woolies, I need to do more. I've never actually been fully happy with anything I've done, and it's a very, I'm telling you, very dark hole. I've been in some bad situations where the protein bars come out in coals and woolies and I'm like, all right, I'm still not doing enough. Never actually enjoyed anything. And stop and enjoy things, because if you don't, you will never go the next step, because you're like, what's the point? I don't actually enjoy what I'm doing.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's one thing I'm prioritizing this year.
Yeah.
Stop and enjoy the moment, to like congratulate myself.
Yeah, well, I think even when we are talking about the long-term you, I think that that's something we can kind of implement, is continue doing what you're doing, but actually have a sense of accomplishment behind you, because a sense of accomplishment it's fulfillment at the end of the day, and that's purpose, and purpose gives you more direction too. One
of the things I was always scared was like, if I'm happy, it means I'm content, which means I'm mediocre. And it's a very hard battle that I'm going through at the moment, because I'm always scared if I'm happy at the moment, it means that I'm just content. And I don't want to be content. But I also know that never being content is a deep, deep, dark hole of never being fulfilled. And that's a terrible life.
Yeah,
it's been terrible with every launch. Like, people are telling you people stop me at bars and stuff, like, you're in Woolies, and I'm like, oh yeah. People are like, are you okay? Like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, it's Woolies. It's not because I don't appreciate it. It's because I'm already thinking about what's next, and it's a very, very dark thing.
Yeah, I get that. It's, I think, a big learning lesson for anyone going into their own business or trying to create something, and is take that leap as well. Back yourself and appreciate what you've got in the now as well. We can get so caught up in social media, what everyone else is doing, being a certain age, having something to replicate what we're earning. And at the end of the day, it's what makes you happy, the relationships around you as well. And it will come if you don't give up and you're consistent. So I think a lot of people can learn off your journey, and it's been great obviously having you on to chat about it, because it's definitely not something you've opened up about. And like I was saying at the start of this episode, so many people only see a certain side to you on Instagram, which is an amazing side. That's what's created your business, but no one really knows exactly who you are behind the brownies. And everyone knows you're a happy guy, but no one knows obviously what you've been through, and it can be hard. So thank you.
Yeah, no, honestly, I hope you guys take something from this, whether it's a bit of it, all of it, whatever it may be, to fit in your own life, because I wanted to get out and tell you guys what I've been through, so it can relate to you some sort of way. And obviously when we talk, we just yap. It's always a good chat. It's always a good chat. So
yeah, I feel like we should end this episode with a bit of a lighthearted would you rather.
Go.
So I'm just gonna pop these out. So I don't even know what I'm gonna say. But right. Would you rather never be able to eat Biscoff again, or never be able to use Biscoff in a product again?
Never be able to eat Biscoff again.
Really? Okay.
Locked in. All
right. I don't know if I'd go with that. But yeah, what's your most popular selling thing? Would it be Biscoff? Oh, pistachio went off.
Pistachio went off, but Biscoff still remains king.
Okay. All right. I need to think of another one here. Would you rather... This is actually tough. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Would you rather never be able to go to Revs again? Oh, wait, is Revs closed?
No, it's still open. It hasn't been like years though.
All right. I was going to say never be able to go to Revs again, or never be able to eat one of your products.
Revs, easy. I'm done with that. I'm done. If you see me in there, we've got a photo. Great, whatever.
That was the last straw, guys.
Done. That's it. Keep that photo. It's never happening again.
Okay, I can't think of another one. I really should have pre-planned these.
No, thank God you didn't.
All right, guys, I think we'll leave the episode there. Can't believe it's already like been an hour. I feel like we
legit.
don't
Jesus.
stop talking. All right. Thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, you can leave them obviously in the podcast description or down below. You can leave your comments. Feel free to reach out to Nick as well on Instagram. He replies to DMs. I think Instagram's your best handle to reach out on.
Yeah.
And your Instagram handle?
Nick Vavitis with an extra S and CHOCLT.
Is it not? Yeah.
Underscore CHOCLT.
Yep. There we go, guys. So you can find him there. Thank you for listening to episode 4 of Tabby Talks, where we chat all things fitness, business, lifestyle, and a little bit of shit.